Hello, my name is Tim Bernard, and this is Beyond the Headlines, where we take a much different look at what is going on in the world around us, the world that they do not want you to see. But it is going on, and as Jefferson said, those who believe that they can live in ignorance and in a state of civilization believe what never was and never will be. And things are getting much, much worse. I've just returned from Africa, and this will be the first show, so I'm just getting caught up. And of course, like a soap opera, nothing really changes. If you're following and you know what's going on, you're just watching it unfold, and hopefully you are getting ready. There's a lot more articles to look at on my website, hundreds of hours of free video. The high price guys are not going to tell you what's going on. If you're getting your news from these guys, you might not want to watch this because it would be such a rude awakening for you. But I watch them sometimes just to find out what the propaganda is, and so you can reverse engineer what they're trying to do and what's going on, because in the end they have to tell you what they're going to do to you. That's how the game really is played. No one can pretend that they really are ignorant. And they've been doing everything they can to get this dead horse, this witch, elected. That's who they would like. And I mean, if we get her as a president, I mean, God help us. Of course, neither her or Obama really care much about it. Here's her as a State Department doing a little hanky-panky, and Lord only knows what she'd get away with if we actually elected her. This was also the sign in Tanzania, where I was, for the party that was trying to take over the establishment. It's also the sign from Vietnam, and the French used to mark V's up for the Vichy government. Vichy with a V, because there are traitors in our midst. Virtually all of the politicians, the media. I mean, if they're not traitors, then they're morons. So you can decide which one they are. All of our leaders, if they are not mentioning these kind of things to you that we cover on this show, I pray for them, because there's a judgment day coming, whether they're religious leaders or secular leaders. These are some of the issues, the broad-based ones, which you should be covering. Because the world is already divided up. I mean, look, these are the FEMA regions. There's a reason there's 10 FEMA regions, because that's a subset. We are coming to you from Global Region 1, FEMA District 10, in the emerging beast system. You are either with us or you are with the beast. Whether you openly support him or not, your silence is with them. And our Lord knows what's going on. This is all going to play out. There was some interesting stuff that happened in Africa, which I'll get into. I'm going to shoot a private, or not private, but the special report just on the trip and the church and what's going on and what happened. But I went there to build a church, and it was just a microcosm of what's going on in the church. And I had to be a purveyor of the truth, which was not good news. Anyway, they will win in the end. It's just the amount of bloodshed and suffering that we're going to go through. Now, someone pointed out I used to use a different symbol, and I thought it was just a key. I hadn't looked at it really close. And she informed me that it was actually a pagan symbol. I took a closer look, and it was. So now we've got an actual key, because the key to opening the book of Revelation is Alpha and Omega, first and last. And that is what Jesus said That is his symbol, and that's Alpha and Omega. And this is Father Zudak. Where we're entering is a period, we are marked in our foreheads first. You can find that in the book of Revelation. Just read it. The 4 angels have been sent to the 4 corners of the earth. And then God goes, wait, we need to mark our people. We're only marked in the forehead because the forehead is like the brain, the intellect. We have to believe in God. And the other side can take it in the forehead or the hand, because while they all won't believe in the beast system, they won't have enough faith in God. And so they'll take the mark for convenience, just so they can buy or sell, just as it says in the 13th chapter of the book of Revelation. We are not going to all get a mark on our forehead like Father Zudak did. But this is just an outward sign to God. It's just a sign of the times. That's what this is. And he now has the full stigmata. And I mentioned this to a priest probably about 10 years ago. He received that in 1999. A lot more happened in 1999 than people understand. But this priest, without even checking him out, and this is in another state, not from Washington, just called the guy, publicly called him a fake. And he got spanked severely by Jesus. This is serious business. This is life and death, not of your flesh, but of your souls. You had better wake up and pay attention. And what is coming is they're going to take down the Eucharist. This is a famous picture called Disputa. Of course, no one talks about this. This happened again. This is one of the most popular things on my websites, is Bohemian Grove. And I keep bringing it up. I mean, what do they do there? They do a mock sacrifice of a child in front of this stone owl every summer. And a lot of leaders in industry, academia, and political leaders go there. This is right from their own anal. This is a lake where they bring this child in an effigy. They do this ceremony right there. You know, yeah, no one talks about that. No, don't worry about it. It's no big deal. Yeah, so they're doing a sacrifice. Or the Georgia Guidestones. This is right outside of Atlanta. I've personally been there. This isn't fiction. It's the new 10 Commandments. It's like the little mini Stonehenge over here. And the first one is to maintain a population on the earth of 500 million. You're not pro-life if you're just anti-abortion or anti-euthanasia, because they're killing us all day long. It's called silent weapons for quiet wars. If any of this is new to you, oh, what's this? This is a guy flew a little drone up there, and notice it looks like someone did some kind of a blood sacrifice, or well, something red happened up on top. And also, there was a little place missing, and they recently put a block in there with the number 14 on it. Well, it's 2014. 20 on this side and 14 there. So things are moving along. This is from 400 years ago, a prophecy. Our mother warned us about the Masonic sects that would try to control. Satan will rule almost everywhere. If you've never heard it, Satan runs television, okay? You should not have your children watching television. I am on TV to try to counteract that. I'm also on YouTube. But very soon they're moving to take us down, because we're getting into the final phases now. And I'm just such a little pipsqueak, but they will take us all down. All of us that are reporting the real news, the truth about what is going on. But like I said, you have to know, you have to be told, and you have to look the other way. No one can really say that they've never heard this. Oh, it just wasn't comfortable, or I choose to just think about the positive. I mean, I could go on for a long time, but we got a lot to go through here. One of the things that she said was that those who should have spoken out will fall silent. Rome will lose the faith and become the seat of the Antichrist. The church will be in eclipse. The Catholic Church is not going to go away. It will go underground like it did before. That's a Catholic prophecy for you Protestants, or for you Catholics who don't know that. And this is one of their things. This is part of Alta Vendetta, talking about how they would do this. And now, for some of the news, look at what's going on and this is an orchestrated plan. The crap that's been going on in the Middle East. We've got all these pseudo-Christians who are promoting these wars for the money changers. That's what's really going on in the Middle East. You know, ISIS, Al-Qaeda. Here we have the state, and this is in Washington. The state is using taxpayer funds to implant 10-year-olds with birth control, and even without parental consent. Inslee is such a bum. He didn't even mention God in his inaugural address. And this is television, the devil's tabernacle. Amen, that's what it is. Cuba arrested a bunch of Catholic dissidents before the Pope came there. What's this? If Europe does not seal its borders, what is to stop the Islamic world and the Third World from coming and repopulating the continent with their own kind as the shrinking native population of Europe die out? This is a plan. This is a war. This is a war. They don't give a damn about the immigrants. They're going to kill them too, but they're using them to take down our countries. This is a planned attack, and these pseudo-religious people who are promoting it, they promote all the crap. The bishops of the United States promoted the bombing of Libya. It met none of the just war theorems. Not one. Oh, but this is holy. There's some people who don't like it. Gaddafi was a bum. But that was the plan, to get something worse in there, to take down Christianity. And this whole Benghazi crap, none of them go to the fact that that was the plan. When they were done with Libya, they shipped them to Syria. What's going on in Syria is a complete disgrace. And anyone who purports to follow Jesus and the gospel should be against what's going on there. Here's an assisted suicide bill approved by California because it's loving. I've done stuff on that. At least the church was against that. Here's just some of the baloney that's going on. Feminist study, you're racist if you don't have sex outside of your race. This Desnuda brings a topless toddler to panhandle on Times Square. Here's a bunch of women taking out, and you haven't seen anything. I showed you that stuff where they were attacking a cathedral in Argentina, and the scum in Hollywood are promoting all this. You know, they don't care at all about the LGBT folks. They're going to kill them too. They're just another tool, some more pawns on the board, divide and conquer. That's all this is. And as they try to, the actual one world government, this is going to go down incrementally in phases. But they're moving on that to get this to happen, to bring it together. The watering down of the church. And it's like the prophecies have said, there'll only be a small amount. And for those of you who think you're going to be whisked away to Valhalla, there's a better chance that the Muslims, after they commit suicide, get 70 virgins. Or 72, whatever the heck it is. Oh, remember that story that I did a while ago about the Muslim fighter who died? He gets to heaven and goes, dude, you're going to hell, or you can go back to earth. And so he said, well, I don't want to go to hell. So he came back and he converted to Christianity. It's an interesting story. You can do some research on that. You can still find it. And the crap that's going on, this is, some of the priests are so bad, squandering money. This was a parish in New York. And of course, Cardinal Dolan is, yeah. But anyway, this guy took over from a guy who had built up the money, got a bunch of great artwork and stuff. And this clown comes in and he's destroying this parish. It's so sad. The media, and like I've told people, because these gay people are so loving, and there are people, and you can love whoever you want. You're supposed to love everyone. But first of all, let me make it clear that you can live with whoever you want, you can love whoever you want, but you can't sleep with whoever you want. You can't have sex outside of marriage, never going to be okay. And even within marriage, it can be wrong. You will never will it be okay to have sex with someone of the same sex. Never. And I don't hate the people that are doing it. I'm just warning them. You can do whatever you want. And some of the, we do stories on this all the time, about this is social engineering that's going on. We need to stand up to this. Wake people up. I mean, how many times have you heard the word social engineering in church? Or the devil? And let me tell you something. A lot of people will say, well, yeah, okay, I believe in the devil. But, because of course, that his number one thing is that I don't exist, But you know what his number two thing is? It's just like number one. I'm not attacking you. You are under attack. Unless you have some special exemption, like you're mentally impaired, or you have some other huge physical cross, you are under attack. The path that goes to the top of the mountain, there are demons on that path. That's in Scripture. Look it up. Any of the great saints will talk about their battles. That is the way. There is no way through. There's a gauntlet there. You have the graces, just like Paul complained. You have the graces. More will not be dished out to you than you can handle. But it's called a cross. It's not called comfortable. It's not the hammock. Get out of the hammock. Force your demon to work. Far too many people just kick back and he whispers in your ear, and he won't whisper out loud because you might, well, maybe I better think about what's being said. You'll just have feelings. Like feelings that this is crazy, when it's the truth. Look it up for yourself. Just do a little research. Oh, and the Planned Parenthood crap that's been coming out. And the Democrats, they just literally worship Planned Parenthood. I mean, that is so evil. Abortions. And of course, the Republicans the establishment Republicans who are in there, they work for the same people that the Democrats work for. I don't care if they call themselves Christians. They all call themselves Christians. Pelosi, Boner. I mean, dozens of Muslim men rape a 12-year-old schoolgirl. Only 5 have been jailed. So much of this is kept quiet, and all the rape that goes on in like Afghanistan of little boys and stuff is kept quiet. This is a disgrace. They're taking over. They're shipping them in for a reason. Most Muslims are just like most Christians. They're just lukewarm. But they're bringing in the radical ones. They're finding him, they're bringing him in, because they talked about this clash of civilization back in the 1800s. Wake up! Here's a former Satanist. I perform satanic rituals inside abortion clinics. Well, of course. Even if you're just a doctor doing it, whether you know it or not, Satan is sitting there going, all right, baby. Because they get power from the killing of innocents. Where if you're a child of the light, you see an innocent person, and especially a child, and you want to help it. That's why I do this. I've given up everything to be laughed at, mocked, and threatened. And eventually it's going to get even worse than that. And that's the real reason that a bunch of you holy rollers won't even look at some of this stuff. I mean, I had a guy who was so gutless, he likes to talk about, oh yeah, I go down into the tough parts of the city and help the poor, and that's good. It's good that you do this. But it took him a couple of months to open a piece of paper and just look at some things that were so mild. Well, one of them was like the Georgia Guidestones. I mean, this is real. This isn't a theory. It's a piece of stone. It's a plan. And those who are silent, woe unto you when you meet the man with the holes in his hand. And here they are. This is some gay dude when Francis was in America giving the readings. Just promoting it. Like, oh, this is okay. Yeah. And this is one of the clowns. Should embrace positive elements of gay unions. There are positive. The positive thing is love. Love is good. Physical relations between the same sex will never be okay. Never. Never. And anyway, we'll have more to talk about when the synod finishes up. There's been some good stuff about some of the shenanigans going on behind the scenes. But we'll just wait until everything transpires. We got a lot to go through. But here's a church. This is a picture of a Catholic church. This is the same church now. You had better wake up. This is a plan. This is a takedown. This is real. This isn't maybe. Oh, the White House promotes a safe place to pee for the transgender community. One school shut it down because the boys would go in there and peek at the girls. Oh, this is so dumb. Oh, and of course, they're all on board with the global warming stuff. We have tons of information on this. I mean, I just look at these satellite pictures and I go, well, let me see. This is May in 1995, and this is May about 4 months ago. I don't know. I mean, oh, I forgot. Al Gore said that this is it. The Pope has come out in his fake garbage. His fake science, because real science looks at both sides. I've sent this picture to the Vatican. Oh, a global warming expedition foiled by record ice. Japers. That's too bad. And this has happened before, too. Don't worry about it. Here's no one will enter the New World Order unless he or she will make a pledge to worship Lucifer. No one will enter the New Age unless he will take a Luciferian initiation. And this is a big shot at the UN. That's what the chip is going to be. Everybody's going to know that this chip is the mark of the beast and that you just sold your soul. Just like many entertainers. I play those clips all the time where they talk about it. And Isn't it nice that Obama is so concerned about that gun shooting? Of course, they don't talk about what's one of the common denominators is the drugs that all these guys are on. Oh no, we don't want to talk about that. Move away, move away. We need to disarm the people because in Tanzania, 80% of the people are peasants and they don't have any guns. And the government's not afraid of the peasants. And as I can't remember, I think it might have been Jefferson again said that when the government fears the people, there's freedom. When the people fear the government, there's tyranny. Because control freaks like Obamas and the Clintons and the Bushes and all the rest of the clowns, they always gravitate to those petitions. We know, you little people. Well, and I've played the clip before of that one physicist saying, we're going to become God and don't get in our way or we're going to kill you. Well, actually, they are going to kill us. But look at all these deaths and stuff from the illegal immigrants. You know, they dwarf all the shootings in all of Obama's, well, matter of fact, in the 21st century. They dwarf the number, and a lot of those shootings, as we've shown you, have been setups. Like this beautiful young woman just got blown away. Oh, move along. We don't need to talk about that. Speaking the truth in deceitful times is a revolutionary act. And if you can't see 1984, you're probably not watching anymore. False flag operations. What can I guarantee you is coming? Another false flag operation. That's the safest bet that there is. And Eisenhower warned us about this. I have permanent links to his speech on my website. I'd urge you to take a look at it. Now, another thing that didn't get a whole lot of press, of course, I talked about Jade Helm just recently ended. And that was where they were openly wargaming in the United States, especially the Southwest, especially Texas. And what were they doing? Well, they were looking for traitors. That's really what was going on. Getting used to role-playing in the U.S., practicing for martial law, which will be coming. I mean, it's going to come. They've been talking about this for a long time. And by long time, I mean way more than a decade. Matter of fact, decades. They've been building prisons for decades, getting ready, and talking about what they're going to do. They're going to do the same thing that they've always done. They're going to kill a whole bunch of people. That's what's going to happen. And that's why people are silent about this. Because I always like it when people go, yeah, I'm in search of the truth, or even better, when some holy guy goes, I'm ready to give my life for Jesus. I'm going, well, let me show you the path. All you have to do is tell the truth. And if you're not in trouble, then you need to take a serious look at your life. Because they're not stopping. I mean, some of the laws, and those who forget the past are doomed to repeat it. Because that's what's going on. What did they do here? Oh, yeah. The Obama administration and the UN announced a global police force to fight extremism in America. Hey, what are you saying all this stuff about us for? Don't you know we're righteous? I mean, look, I'm the president. I'm el presidente. Or I'm a holy man, and you're saying that because I don't talk about some of this uncomfortable stuff, you're an extremist. We have a fun camp for you. Hillary. Here's the Syriac Catholic Patriarch. You can't imagine how bad the conflict is. They're destroying some of the oldest churches literally set up by apostles over there. And this is all planned. Why Christians are doing this. Or people who say they're Christians. Here's that traitor McCain with, ISIS leader, al-Baghdadi. That's Big John right there. Talking about we need to go over there. I mean, you guys you're so fake. You're so phony. At least Russia now is going over there to do something. And I know how Putin got into power and everything, but I told you that they were going to draw a line in the sand. This was years ago when they first started going into Syria. I mean, because before the Arab Spring even started, if you've been listening that long, we were telling you because we had the intel. And if you don't believe that it was out there, look up Wesley Clark. He talks about it before it started, that he was given the list of the countries they wanted to take over. And those were the countries that weren't a part of the global banking system yet. That's right. The money changers. And at least they're stopping them. Yeah, the Syrian bishop has reacted strongly to John McCain's claim that Russian planes are bombing U.S.-backed rebel forces, saying that McCain's statements are a blatant admission of American involvement with his Islamic militants. And now they've decided, well, and of course, they're saying bombing the guys who are against Assad and not ISIS. And it's like, we spent $400 million and they go, well, yeah, we maybe got 4 or 5 fighters out of that. Somebody's making, that's what this, it's all about money. It's all about, so now what we're going to do is we're going to continue, because the report didn't mention that, well, actually, we've been supplying, and I've done stuff on that, how we accidentally dropped some munitions to some ISIS fighters. Oh, we accidentally trained some ISIS fighters in Jordan. Years ago, mentioned that. And what are we really worried about? Oh, we're worried about the LGBT folks, because that's what's important. So what if the country goes to hell? Who cares? As long as they get some rights. Woe unto you who are supporting this. Woe unto you. There is, eternity is a long time. I mean, go ahead, you can hate me. I mean, people hate me at some places I go. I mean, how dare you have the audacity to seek the truth and try to tell it and say that everything isn't lovely. Oh, look, they're sharing a little intimate moment. I mean, this is crazy. Oh no. Here's more bad news for the Claremont Limas. Another study confirms Africa's deserts are getting greener. Let's see, global warming to pick up in 2015 or 2016, the experts say. Yeah, well, maybe. The gene drive, now this is some really scary stuff. All this genetic manipulation where these guys are playing God. And this shooting genes into cells, I mean, it's so insane what is going on, and cleaning up these disasters. Oh, and by the way, I'm for clean energy. I have been for decades. I've been telling people how it's a whole scam. It's so suppressed. I mean, we're totally bought off by big business. And who's one of the biggest ones? Obama. I mean, who better to sell out the green movement than someone who pretends to be green? Well, and actually he is green. He's taken the green, baby. He loves that 747. Just like Patty Murray. The Big O was in town and they were at the Westin last night. And oh yeah, they're getting the donors. Man, Patty's, oh, Obama. Just tell me how to vote. Oh, Obama. Yeah, Obama. Oh my goodness. It's all suppressed. It's all fake. And you better stand up. Yeah, because they're going to hurt us so bad. It's like they say, the people will wake up when the velvet glove comes off the iron fist. I mean, I know people who won't say anything and they're hurting their own families. Well, and that's like what Hitler said. Hitler said, forcing for leaders that their people are unwilling to think. Or Bertrand Russell said, yeah, you know, people would rather die than think, and they do. He wrote that in a book. He's not someone like me. He's on the other side. Chaldean Christian leader, ISIS systematically beheading children in Iraq. Hey, but we need to bring them to the U.S. because it's loving. Of course it is. Oh, and some stuff on the Fukushima stuff. I want to get this independently, or try to do a little more research on it, but it's not good. It is not good what we hear. I've got some good links on my site and some articles. This article is from a while ago now, a week or a few weeks, but the main website's there. Just type in radiation levels from Fukushima in America. Believe me. And see, and this is, it's not high. You're not going to die instantly. And many people will live through it. But certain sensitive people, and some people will breathe hot particles and they will die. But the death toll from Fukushima will be in the millions by the time it's all said and done. Oh yeah, citizen cattle. I mean, we got the GMO food, the TPP that they just passed, and TTIP and the Atlantic. I mean, oh, but Obama's for us. Because he said so. He's black. You know. And who got screwed the worst? Black people. And women. Look it up. I mean, just take a look at what's going on. I mean, the Democrats are even worse than the Republicans. And the majority of the Republicans now, we're trying to take over the Republican Party. Because the Democrats, there's nothing to do. They're totally gone. But the Republicans, at least they pretend about God and stuff. And I'm not judging you, I'm warning you though. Believe me, I am warning you. It's not my problem to judge you. But I'd be held accountable if I said, oh yeah, it's okay to covet, lie, murder, and steal, which is what our foreign policy is for the international bankers. I mean, here's what they're putting in our water right here in Seattle. I mean, look it up. It was about 2 years ago now that Harvard came out with a study, peer-reviewed study from the NIH, National Institutes of Health, said, yeah, fluoride lowers your IQ. Oh, well, so what? And they keep lowering it because it's getting so outrageous. I mean, one of the target organs is the teeth and your central nervous system. Oh, and it bioaccumulates, too. Oh, and the military misplaces the Black Plague. What's up with that? You know, there's going to be some engineered virus crisis that they're going to use because they're really pushing the inoculations. See, and here's Bertrand Russell saying, yeah, through diet, injections, and injunctions from a very early age will produce the sort of character and the sort of beliefs that the authorities consider desirable, and that any serious criticism of the powers that will become psychologically impossible. And you can hear, what's his name? The author of Brave New World, Aldous Huxley. You can hear him say that. They just laugh about it. I mean, it's out there everywhere. This is a book that this dude wrote 65 years ago now, or over 60 years ago. And he's not complaining about it. He's saying this is what we're going to do. And that's what they're doing. I mean, look around how they're pushing the mandatory vaccines. They're not doing that because it's for your health. Get a grip. Look at my health site. I've got tons and tons of articles from doctors and stuff about that. The bankers, they're just continuing on. I ran into this black woman who was talking to someone outside of PCC. And so I just interjected, to see if they were awake and to give them my little business card. And she was awake. She knew what was going on. She knew about Iceland, and that's the answer. We just have to stand up. I mean, that's at least on a secular side. That is, we just have to stand up and say no. They're like bullies. They're going to keep taking your lunch money until you say no. And one of the things they've been doing, and I've got articles on this, we reported it, when they took all the money in Cyprus, instead of a bailout what's coming, there's going to be what's called a bail-in. That's what they did in Cyprus, where they're going to go into your accounts and just take your money. That's what they did in Cyprus 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago. And now, and I reported on this during the summer, every country in Europe had to have laws on the books by the end of July that made it legal to do that. And now we have those laws. Oh, but no one's talking about that. And let's just take a quick look at what happened. This was the one thing Bernanke, on that loser, he wrote a book and said, yeah, some people should have gone to jail in the last collapse. Yeah, and he was one of them. He should have been. And Clinton and Bush and Obama and Geithner and Paulson and a whole bunch, Greenspan, a whole bunch of others should have gone. That's Bill Clinton. He was the guy who got rid of Glass-Steagall. He was the guy who really got the derivatives market going. You can look up that. I've got a great, it was actually done by PBS even. And Brooksley Bourne was the gal who was fighting them tooth and nail back in the 90s. I mean, that guy sold us out. That dude is so evil. That's why they'd love to give Hillary the presidency, because she'd do anything. They'll do anything. Just let us be president. Just let us prance around with our idiots who have no clue what we're doing to them. And then, of course, she'd get her big mama. Whoa, yeah. Do a little grinding. But anyway, and the one thing that Bernanke didn't get done, and he wrote about what he was going to do before he became head of the Fed. I think if you just type in Bernanke's speech to the Banking Association before he becomes head of the Fed, something like that. I might even have a link to it. But I have a copy of the speech. But they did, and they mentioned it. You can type in politicians talk about bank holidays. Biden and Obama talked about bank holidays. So did Bush in 2008. That's the one thing they haven't done, but they will. There's going to be a global currency reset. That's what's coming very soon. They're just looking for the right moment to do this. Anyway, there was a bank holiday because that's why everybody hid their money at home, because the banks have done this before. But anyway, they're going to have a bank holiday. Cyprus had a bank holiday, and then the Cyprus Parliament rejects the bail-in bill, and so the bank holiday is extended, and cash limits of only 100 euros. Anyway, eventually, and this all happens within a period of a little over a week, because it doesn't take very long for everything to go to hell. The final deal, well, the initial deal was just under 7% would be taken from accounts under 100,000, and basically 10%, 9.9%, would be taken from accounts larger than 100,000. But what actually happened was, and we showed you, because people sent us their bank statements showing us that, so, and I reported on that. You might not have heard that on fake news, I mean Fox News or MSNBC or CNN or ABC, NBC, CBS. But I showed it to you, and other people in the alternative news did. Anyway, it said the bail-in deal agreed upon, those depositors with over 100,000 either lost 40% of their money, that was the Bank of Cyprus, or lost 60%, and this was at Lakel, or that was another bank. So anyway, that's what they did. That's what's coming here. Because we can't pay off these derivatives. I mean, we're more than $18 trillion in debt. The banks have all ballooned so much bigger. Every metric is so much worse now than it was 7 years ago. Every one is worse. Every one. I mean, things have been going good for me personally, but I live on nothing, so compared to most people. But anyway, yeah, you better look. I mean, this is one guy, and he just looks at these major trends. This is Harry Dent. He's one person that's worth looking at. These are the different cycles, and they all line up like a perfect storm. Here's the the September survey data and the non-farm payrolls. They're both going down. The survey data is really going down, and especially the shipping containers are going down. So the amount of stuff being shipped, that means there's not as much going on. There's going to be people who are going to be millionaires, who are going to be made millionaires, because it's different for everyone. The people who are hurt the worst are the people coming in, the young and the very old, and the people that might not be quite as smart, maybe, and aren't hard workers. But there's a lot of people that are just getting the shaft. I mean, this has all been set up for a class warfare. They're getting highest amounts of people, on. Here's the manufacturing data, real versus year to year. So the regional manufacturing survey, September, look at it nosediving. That's not a good sign. And here we go. Here's people on food stamps and the percentage of Americans in the workforce. I mean, I don't know. Looks like trouble to me. Doesn't look like a recovery. China is beginning to go into free fall, and they're beginning to, what I told people before any of this even started, because we were warning people before the last collapse in 2006 and 2007, while I was still living in Montana doing a little public access show, about what was coming, how it would go down, and some of the final signs. Some of the final signs would be when everybody runs for the door. That's what's going on now. And China has been dumping treasuries, been doing talks about this. Back in the summer, there was one, they're selling them out of Belgium, trying to hide it, because they still want to get as much as they can for their money, as long as Americans are willing to sell their country out for nothing. This has been a plan. Let's see, government employees outnumber manufacturing employees, almost 2 to 1. Okay. This is in Japan. Doesn't look like things are going too well there. Debt is skyrocketing. And then the people who are putting us into the debt are going to go, yeah, we'll be your savior. Recession countdown, durable goods orders drop the most since March. Shipments tumble. Hey, but everything's okay. Obama's in charge. The Democrats or the Republicans don't have a clue. Legal immigrant households account for 75% of immigrant welfare use. Here's industrial production year to year. You can see it's clearly going down. Again, not a good sign. Hey, hop in, the water's fine. This is how it's done, through incrementalism. And they're going to keep telling you it's fine. As the house is literally burning down, they're going to tell you it's a conspiracy theory. That's not smoke that you're smelling, and it's global warming. That's the heat, not the fire. And don't let them stick a chip in you. That's what they talk about. We're getting close to 2017, that the liar in chief, and they all lie, but they can only lie from their script. You're not supposed to lie about what's going on. And this is a fast track on a pill with an RFID chip in it. I mean, they just want to get us so many ways. They're pushing this merging of man and machine. Boy, this is so sad. So many people are going to get hurt so bad, so soon. Yeah, DARPA's testing, implanting chips in soldiers' brains. And of course, they're going to want to put one in you and control you. But what is coming? We will not teach our children war anymore. And this is going to be violently opposed. You just heard today there was a bombing of a peace rally in Turkey by the Kurds. This was set up, clash of civilizations, trying to pit one group off against another. They're not going to just go away. People are going to have to stand up, and that's what's going to come. I mean, it's going to be, we're going to see unbelievably wild times, and they're getting ready for it because they know what's coming, and that's why they want the guns, and that's why they're afraid of ex-military the most, because they know they've stood up before to defend their country. They're not gutless weenies like our politicians. Let me issue and control a nation's money, and I care not who writes its laws. This is one of the top. Bill Gates has never been the richest man in the world. And the richest people, it's called families. And they don't get on the list. Or they're put way down because their money is hidden. They count their money in trillions. This family is one of the owners of the Federal Reserve, because the Federal Reserve is private. That's why they killed JFK, because he took them on. This is his press secretary that morning pointing to where the shot was. You watch his head go back into the left. Exactly what you'd expect. That's Building 7, the third building that fell down, of the only buildings that have ever fallen down from fire in the history of modern construction. Don't worry about it. It's okay. Well over 2,000 architects and engineers have put their livelihood on the line to say this is a lie. But our politicians just keep spewing the lies, and so does the people in the media, because, hey, look at how much I'm getting paid to lie to you. I'm getting paid millions of dollars. I'll say whatever my boys want. And that's what's going on here. The old world order, the new world order, it's pretty much the same. The fake left-right paradigm, like there's really any difference. They talk about difference. Huh? The party that's out of power says, well, we'll stop the wars. They get in, the wars increase. Oh, we'll stop the spending. then they give them everything they want. They do false flag operations because they've worked for thousands of years. And Hillary's got fun camps just waiting for us. Look it up. The take-home message from 9/11, not only is it the warning, but it's also the anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi's very first protest. And if you're not up in arms doing something, just trying to wake up your family, educate yourself while you still can, you can use my websites or the websites that I go to, or that I have listed, because it's not like I'm the only person out there. There's more of us than them. Of course, the biggest group of people are the people that do nothing, but they don't really count. They're just along for the ride. We must be the change that we wish to see in the world. Remember what Jesus said about lukewarm people. He spits you out of his mouth. This is a revolution of love. Seek the truth, my friends, and bear witness to it. This is going to stop. What is this? This is the sacrifice of an innocent child on the altar of lust and convenience. And Jesus sees what's going on. He gives us enough graces to deal with the problems. We just have to reach out and take them and use them. And it'll lessen what is coming. There's a spanking coming. We cannot avoid it. There's no easy way out of this thing. Anyone who promises you an easy way out, run from that person. Oh, and by the way, the guy who said that was a fella named St. John of the Cross. That if a person comes to you without a cross, even if he shows you miracles, flee from that person. He's a doctor of the church. And that is what the truth is. Prayer and fasting can change the world. The rosary, or if you're not Catholic, just pray. Get on your knees, some quality knee time. Anyway, something you can do, there's my website, here's another website. That's one simple thing you can do. Here you can contact me. Here's the shows, tell people about the shows. Thursday 8 to 9, Friday 1 to 2, and also Friday late night from midnight to 1 o'clock in the morning. And of course 24/7 online. Remember what my Sioux brothers say, Matakawe we seen. We are all related. So go out and do something this week. Wake someone up. And may God bless you and your family. And we'll see you again. Goodbye.